So right now it's still about 32 degrees, so I'm kind of just working along because we need to get the flywheel off and off to the gentleman to resurface it in a timely manner. So we're under somewhat of a time crunch, so I'll explain what the hell we're doing in a little bit. I like to err on the side of caution, so not only do I have jack stands down there, I'm about to jack the car up even higher and just slide the ramps under the wheels just in case. So God forbid a jack stand kicks out, the car's not going to fall to the ground, it's going to fall into a ramp. If you guys have ramps, slide them under there. If not, you can get some wood and make some cribbing and go that route. Now we're going to go after the rear drive shaft shield. It's a whole bunch of 14 mil bolts and we're going to zip those right on out. So now we're going to use a T70 socket, drain the fluid out so that way when we pull the axles in the drive shaft we don't make a massive mess. That's not bad. So Jesse got the starter out from up top. I just got the downpipe off. So now I'm gonna go ahead and crack all the bolts free around the bell housing. Then we're gonna pop the axles free, pull the wheels off, pull the axle nuts, and then we can remove the axles as well as the rest of the drive shaft. And then we can pull some linkages off. Well, we still got some stuff to do. You guys will see. So as you guys can see, I pulled off the linkages, both shift linkages. So those are off to the side now. The drive shaft is completely out. I'm gonna pull the wheels off now and, oh, this is going to Huffgang Sam. Sorry Sam. So as you guys can see on the strut, I also marked off where the bolts landed. This is your camber adjustment on a stock strut. I'm on WRX struts, but it applies the same unless you have top hats. The top one's eccentric, the bottom one's in a regular bolt. So to kind of save your alignment a little bit, mark the top bolt as well as the bottom one, and that way when you remove them, you can put them back as close as possible. So, there's lighting. So you guys still have no idea what was going on, but we have the car up on jack stands. The front axles are out, the drive shaft's out, the downpipe's out, and bell housing bolts are out. So that can only mean one thing. The awesome people at McLeod have sent down one of their 6-puck ceramic clutches with amoeba coating on it as well. So we're gonna install this, but first we gotta continue to pull the transmission. So once we get the transmission pulled, I can go into further detail because we are under a slight time crunch as usual to get the flywheel out to get resurfaced real quick. Also, Jesse's here again, and my cross truck that's lifted. Thanks, Tom. Jesse's here again. He's gonna help me. We're doing it on jack and jack stands, which most of you guys are gonna have access to versus a shop. So Jesse's putting a jack under the transmission now. I'm gonna pull the transmission brace out, and then we're gonna pull the transmission out. Down. So Jesse's down there right now ripping off the old clutch, and then we're gonna rip the flywheel off and we can bring it and get it resurfaced. Hi Jesse.
Hey. That's a heavy bitch.
Alright, so that's the flywheel.
It's not too bad. A little bit of hot spotting.
That's a pilot bearing. Oh!
She's making a little bit of noise in there.
Well, Jesse, let me tell you something. The awesome people from McLeod in their install kit not only comes with an alignment tool and a throw out, but it comes with a new pilot bearing.
You got a little tube of grease in there too.
And some
awesome.
grist. And there's a really nice gentleman out in Pleasant Valley who's gonna resurface the flywheel same day for us. And then we're gonna talk more about the clutch. So we're gonna take a quick trip and get that taken care of, and then we'll be right back. So when you get a street power clutch from McLeod, you not only get a really nice box, but you get some cool parts in there. Starting with the 6-puck clutch, put that to the side. You also get a bag of goodies, which you guys already saw us take out the pilot bearing. You get a new throw-up bearing, a little bit of grease, and a clutch alignment tool, as well as you guys get a new pressure plate. Like that. Their 6-puck clutch, it features the amoeba coating on it as well as being a sprung clutch, so it's a little bit more forgiving than an unsprung 6-puck. So for those of you guys who haven't heard who McLeod is or even heard of McLeod clutches, they've actually been around since 1971, more prevalent in the domestic world, and they're slowly starting to come to the import world. I personally have actually installed a whole bunch of their clutches on Mustangs, Camaros, and Corvettes, and when I saw that they offered one for my car, I had to jump on it. I went with a 6-puck over a full face. This is actually a factory clutch that originally I thought it was replaced at one point, but put a solid 130,000 in. But it's time to upgrade because this clutch, it's basically to the rivets. It's kind of worn out, got a little damage on removal, but it served its purpose. So we're gonna upgrade to a 6-puck clutch with amoeba coating on it through McLeod. It comes with their new pressure plate, so everything's gonna be refreshed, as well as McLeod also obviously includes a new pressure plate. Oh yeah, gyms are still closed. As well as a resurfaced factory flywheel. For my application and clutch choice, I ended up going for a factory flywheel, just resurfaced, instead of going with a lightweight one and getting into that nitty gritty. Maybe that's a down the line upgrade, but for now, we just got our factory flywheel resurfaced from a nice gentleman in Pleasant Valley. Shop's name is Morrow, great guy. Did a great job. He already pressed in the brand new pile bearing that McLeod included in their kit. So now we're gonna install this, we're gonna clean it up, and then we can keep going. Make sure you guys check their Instagram, their YouTube, and their Facebook out, and make sure, let them know I sent you. I like McLeod. I've driven a whole bunch of Mustangs with their clutches, and I love them. So we're gonna get back to the install and see how quick we can install the clutch. So while Jesse's down there installing the 5/0 bolts, I'm going to clean up the shift fork here, clean up the mating surfaces a little bit that everything's gonna be riding on, just a little bit with a little Scotch-Brite pad on a die grinder. You don't want to use anything too aggressive because you don't want to remove material. I'm just looking to clean it up. Here's one clutch for Jesse. Goodbye. And a pressure plate for Jesse. Ooh. 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 Oh, here you go, bud. Goodbye. Wow, building a Super is easy. You just put stuff in the engine bay and hope for the best.
Snap the washers back.
So as you guys saw, Jesse torqued everything up. Everything is nice and torque spec. We are gonna put the transmission back on and then reassemble everything else, and then we can go for a drive. God, that looks so good. Thanks, McLeod. So now Jesse's gonna install the supplied throwout bearing, and here you go. Teamwork makes the dream work. There it goes. So what you guys just saw, Jesse installed the pin, and now we're gonna put the cover cap. You have to make sure to put the cap back on, otherwise the pin can back itself out, and then it's at a wonky angle, and it will actually crack where it pivots, and then you have major issues. We don't want major issues, so we're gonna cap it. So now we're gonna reinstall the transmission. I'm gonna wheel the jack under the car. We're gonna set the transmission back on the jack. Jesse's gonna help it into place, and I'm gonna operate the jack, and then they'll mate back up. Like a beautiful love story. All right, yeah. What do you want to do?
There she is.
Jesse got the transmission back in, with my help, in 3 minutes. So now we're putting the transmission mount back on, and then we're gonna put the brace back on, and then we can kind of take a quick breather. Then we can go back to reassembling a whole bunch of stuff. Now we're gonna snap the throwout bearing into the pressure plate. That's it?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
All right. So now Jesse's working up top. There's Jesse. I'm gonna go down below, reinstall the transmission brace as well as the drive shaft and exhaust and the shift linkage, while Jesse just buttons up some stuff up here, and then throw it. Sponsored. And then we're close to starting it and driving it. We are almost to that point. So now Jesse's gonna throw the jack under there. I'm gonna pull the ramps out, then lower the back, and then we can put some fluid in it and put the intercooler and the pitch stop back in, and then we can start it and see if it clutches. Cool. Forward. So that way I drop it.
Oh, good. So good.
Now that the McLeod Clutch has been broken in and I've done my dyno tune and I've been driving, I've put close to 2,000 miles on this. It's been a minute that I posted that I was doing the clutch since posting this video. Now, here's the reason. Simply because I did not want to just do the clutch, post the video, and then that be it. I wanted to drive the clutch. I wanted to feel how the clutch is gonna act at 0 miles and 2,000 miles. I wanted to be able to give you guys an honest opinion. And my honest opinion is this clutch is awesome. The clutch grab itself is phenomenal in the sense of at no point would you think that you're gonna slip the clutch or any issue delivering the power from the engine down to the transmission to the wheels. Absolutely awesome lockup. Now that the clutch is broken in and my car's tuned and all that, I've been able to put some daily miles on it, abusive miles, some spirit driving miles, and soon some track miles. Track day coming soon. And all those categories, the clutch handled perfectly. At no point did I have to wonder, is this pushing it? Absolutely perfect. I'm making 302 and 320 wheel horsepower and torque, and it handles it perfectly. So, massive thank you to the people over at McLeod Clutch for sending me this clutch for the Forester. And I'll make sure to put the link in the description to purchase this exact McLeod Clutch, as well as the page that you can see the other offerings they make for our Foresters, as well as all the other kind of cars out there, imports and domestics, but specifically, I'll give you the link to the Forester ones. And I'll give you the link to the McLeod page as well. But the Forester ones are the best ones. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.